So, hello all. So today we will discuss about some basic concept of Java. It is the first session, and further on we will work on the next sessions like how to download, then how we to create the program, how to run the program. So let's introduce what is the Java and how to some basic facts. Today we will discuss today's agendas are like introduction of Java and then history of Java, and then we will discuss about the platform in Java, etc. We will discuss then how the its pointer and something work. These all things we will discuss one by one. Of course, if you anyone have any kind of problem or question, he can just unmute his mic and can ask the question whatever he has. Okay. So first of all, we will discuss about what is the Java. Okay. So Java basically a high level programming language which is fully object oriented. Okay, means here everything will be in form of the object and classes, nothing much more. Okay, so let's discuss first of all about the history of the Java. So previously Java was named as the Oak. Okay, and in 1991 the main uh, James was the name of the person who has invented the Java, and his team member who is working on some project, and from 1991 they have started to work on this project, and in 1995 after 4 years they have released first version of the Java, and the name was Java Alpha Beta in this way. So in 1991 they have named it as a Oak, but at that time Oak was already occupied by some other industry, Oak Technologies, so they are not able to pick this name. So they have changed this name from the Java, and the Java name is taken from there is the Indonesia coffee, and the seed of that coffee is known as Java. So based on that, based on the coffee seeds, they have picked that name. It's Java. Okay. Now it had the multiple editions like standard edition, then we have enterprise edition, enterprise edition, and after that we have micro edition. Okay, so we have the multiple versions of the Java. Now as I told you that Java is a platform independent, so what does this mean by the platform? So first discuss about the platform. What is the platform? So when we are talking about C and C++ other programming language, so we can say that we have two things like our operating system, and then you can say your software hardware. There is a two things which will be named as a platform. But when we are talking about in terms of the Java, there will be three things in the platform. So your definition of the platform will be changed. So there will be OS, software hardware, and one more thing, it is a JVM. So in Java, whenever you are talking about the platform, so platform means three things. In other language, platform means two things only, OS and hardware. Okay. Now before starting with these all things, let's discuss much more about stack and heap, and then we will work further on. So first of all, what is the stack and heap? Okay. So we will discuss about the stack and heap. So before we create an object, it makes sense to understand where things live and how long they live for it. So there is a two parts of your memory to care about. One where the object will live, and second where your method invocation and local variable live. So there is a two parts. One is a heap and second is a stack. Okay. So let's discuss about the heap and stack. Heap and stack. So all the objects will live in the heap. Okay, all the objects, whatever objects you are creating in your Java program will live in the heap. and whatever the method and in method invocation including your main method will be in the stack. Okay, so whatever you have the method like method 1, method 2, method 3, they all will be in a stack. Okay, now let's call about the what happens when the JVM will start. So when a JVM start up, it gets a chunk of memory from your underlying OS and it uses it to run your Java program. Means whenever you will start your Java program, what will happen? First of all, JVM will reserve some part of your RAM. Okay, then it does not matter that how many parts he is reserving based on your program and based on your OS. It will reserve some memory from your OS, and after that it will perform over there. Okay, so uh, always remember the memory will be divided into two parts, heap and stack. All the objects will be in the object and all the method invocation and the local variables and the variable any kind of it will be in a stack. Okay, so whatever in the heap it is garbage collectible, means a automatic garbage collection will be called and they will be cleared. Means we will create the object, we will perform some operation by using this object. When the task will get completed, object will be removed from memory. Okay, and memory will get free. Now, as I discussed about, there are the two kinds of variables we will use mainly in the Java. First is the local variable, second is the instance variable. So what does this mean? Suppose that I am having a program. Let me open a notepad. Let me see. Okay, suppose that I am creating a program like the public class A. Okay, so inside that class, suppose that there is a I am creating a variable like int x is equal to 10. So it will become a instance variable. Okay, but for the local variable, how it can be done? Suppose that inside a class I have a method like a public void g. Inside that method, I have created a local variable. So it will become a local variable. And if I will create outside of the method but inside the class, then it will become the instance variable. What is the basic difference between them? The basic difference is this, that this integer x have its scope only inside this method, but this variable int y have the scope in the complete class. So these two things we are gonna to use too much in our project or something. Now let's discuss about some more things like why Java is a platform independent and why C++ is not a platform independent. Okay, so I will create a diagram first of all so that you can get much more clear that how it is working. Okay, so suppose that what happens when we create our program in C and C++ and what will happen in our Java. First I will discuss about the C and C++. You know that you have written some code in the C and C++ like has include conio.h, has include studio.h. You are very familiar with the C++. So suppose that we are following some C++ structure, how the development will be done in the C and C++. Okay, so C++. So what will happen in the C++? Suppose that you have a source file. Okay, so suppose that you are having a source file, this one. Okay, it is your source file where you have written your code. Okay, so the extension will be .c. In this way we used to save our code in the C++. Now what will happen, there will be a header file as well. Okay, so it will be header file. First of all, a temporary file will be created by the help of processor. Means a processor, first of all C++ processor will come into the existence and he will take your source file, and he will use some help of header files whatever installed in your machine for C++, and he will convert this file into a temporary file. Okay, it's a temporary file, that's why it do not have any name. Okay, so it will convert it to a temporary file. Okay, now what will happen? So after that there is a compiler of C++. What it will do? The compiler will take your this temporary file and it will change it to the object file or .o file. Okay, so it will be changed into the object file, means a .o file. Okay. .o file, also known as object file. So compiler will take this temporary file and he will convert the temporary file to the object file. Now moving forward, suppose that now the linker will come into the existence. There is also a thing like a linker in your C++. He will link your .o file with library files, whatever the libraries you have installed in your machine. So he will link your file with that library file. So there is a library file. Okay. So linker, what it will do? It will just link your .object file to the link file, and finally your output will be produced. It will be .exe file. It will be .exe file, means your output. So you have seen there is a that in the C++ how the flow of your source code to the output is flowing. I mean, there is a processor, there is a compiler, there is a linker, and also I will explain you about little bit like a header and library files. So always remember that methods are always the definition of the methods are available in the library files, and they have declared inside the header file. For example, that I have said a boy to bring a cup of tea. That means the method is bring cup of tea. It is available in header file, and the process to bring a cup of tea means each step has already been written in the person's mind. Okay, so in this way we will use. Now let me move further. Always remember that functions are coded within the library file, means the definition is available in the library file and declared in the header file. Okay. Now let's move on the Java. How the Java the processing will be done. Let me remove this one. Okay. So in the Java, there is a very simple concept, means when we are talking about the platform, as I told you, we are talking about the three things. First of all, there will be OS, there will be hardware, and there will be JVM. There will be three things in your platform. Means if you are using the Window PC, then there will be a Window JVM. Suppose that you have the Window PC, so they have designed a JVM for Window. Okay, JVM for Window. And if you have some other PC like a Linux or something, so it will have JVM for Linux. Okay, so for each PC, each kind of OS, they have designed the JVM. Okay. So what will happen in the Java? Suppose that you have written some code. Okay, like this one. This is your source file, and you will save it as a .java. Okay, by the name of the class, you need to save it as a .java. Okay, this is your source file. Your source file. Okay, now the Java compiler will come into the existence, and he will just change you. First of all, Java compiler will come into the existence, and he will change your source file .java file to directly a bytecode. Okay, means .class file he will convert it. .class file will be converted, means it will be a kind of bytecode. Okay, now JVM easily convert this bytecode to any machine language, means your output will be produced. So the best feature of Java is that it is platform independent. Platform independent means writing your code in one operating system like Windows XP and executing the same code in some other OS like Linux. Okay, so in this way the processing of Java will be done. It's very easy. First of all, your source file will directly converted to the .class file, means the bytecode, and it is a machine readable format. You just need the JVM, and your output will be produced. And also you always remember, bytecode is the machine language of the Java virtual machine. By using the bytecode execution, Java proves it is a platform independent language. Okay. Now let's move on the JVM. So JVM have two things like a JVM have Java interpreter, and let me explain about the JVM. So it have the Java interpreter and JIT compiler. Okay, and JVM converts bytecode, means your dot class file, to executable code, means dot object file. Okay, that is used to generate the output. Means using the JVM, same code, same dot class file can run on the various platforms. Now let me explain about the JIT compiler. So JIT compiler, it is a compiler that converts your program source code into the native machine language, means native machine code, just before running the program. It is so fast and more efficient to perform a huge application. Okay, so like it is a basic thing like the Java, and much more theory you can read about from the website as well. This is here like very interesting. You will get a lot of things of the Java introduction, and these all things whatever I have told already have written here. Okay, these all things. So let's discuss about much more access specifier. Okay, so I will tell you that what is access specifier and how to use them. It is a very good concept about the access specifier. It is also very good interview question, and in the real life also you will use this one. So you must know that what is the access specifier. Okay. So let's take a very easy example for this one. So there are the four types of the people living in our society, and four types of the living style you can say that we have. For example, that this is a you. This is a person, you. Okay. Now this is a person who is belong to your family member or living with you. Okay, means you are living with this person in your home. Now there is some neighbor who is living beside your hometown or beside your house. Now there is a strange word, you don't know about the strange word. So there is a four things that we know, like you, then your family member, and again your neighbor, and then a strange person. Okay, there are four kind of people that you have surrounded. Now suppose that you have a pen. For example, that if you have a pen, then you can give this pen to anyone, whether it is belong to your family member, whether it is your neighbor, whether it is your strange person. Means you can give your pen to anybody. Okay. Now let's discuss about the second thing. Suppose that you have a bike. Okay, you have a bike. Now you can give this bike to, you can also use with your own bike. You can give your family member like your brother, your father, you can give this bike to them. And if your neighbor asks sometime, you can give your bike to neighbor also. But you will never give your bike to some strange person. Okay. Now third thing, for example, that you have a television in your home. So you can see that television mainly accessed by you, and the family person who is your family member can access your television, but very rarely neighbor cannot access your television. Okay, and also stranger are not allowed to access your television. Now let's discuss about your mobile phone. Suppose that you have some your personal mobile phone or some personal device, mobile device. So you will not gonna to share this one to anyone, means because it is your personal thing. Okay, so you will not share this to anyone, whether it is your family member, whether it is your neighbor, whether it is your strange person. So same feature will adopted by the Java. Means you, means you are in a class. Okay, so you are a class, and this is a, you can say that same package, same package class, and same package, another class in same package, or this is a subclass, or you can say that it is a some strange word. And also it will talk about this is a public and this is a protected, and it is also the default, or when you don't use any modifier, I will say that no modifier or default. And also it is a mobile device, means private. Means if you have something public, then it can be accessed by everyone, whether it is the same class, same package, different class, different package. If it is a bike or means a protected thing you have, then you can access within a class, and inherited class means up to the subclass but not to the other class. If you have some television, then it's a means you don't have any access specifier, you can access within the same class and same package. And if you have some private member, it can be accessed only the within the class. So it is the access specifier about these all things. Okay, so now much more important thing, what are the data types in the Java? So basically we have two types of the data types. We have basically two types. Please my mic off, where you have mic off. Please put your mic off. So suppose that uh, we will discuss about the uh, data type in the Java. So basically data types are divided into the two parts, like primitive and non-primitive. There are two kinds of the data type. So in the primitive we have total 8 kind of data type mainly that we will use in our programming. I will let you know that which one we will use much more. Okay, so first of all, byte, we will use this one. Second is int, we will use this one too much. Then sort, while Excel file we will use this one. Then there is a float, float, double, character, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and also long, I think so. So near about we have 8 data types. One more is remaining, and also byte, yes, it is a boolean. So these all things that we will too much in our Java programming, these data types. And also we will use the reference data type as well in our absolute programming, or when we will start our Java from next class. So it's a just basic introduction class, and where we have discussed about the memory allocation and also the history of the Java, then access specifier, and then how Java program or Java compiler work. So next topic we will discuss about that how to download and install the Java. So just need to go to the Google and go to the Google, go to here. Okay. So type here download JDK, Java Development Kit. Okay. So you will get first site, this one. Click on this one and download the JDK and JRE in your machine. This one, download JDK. If you click this one, yes, it will come this way. So as per your OS, like Windows 64, Windows 34, 32-bit, whatever you have, just click on this one and download. Okay. And also you will get much more link for JDK. Same link is here. So you will get a lot of option to download the JDK and JRE. Okay. The same way you have to download the JRE for your machine. Java runtime environment, go to here, and same as per your OS or Windows, you need to download the JRE file. Okay, just click on this one, the setup will be downloaded, then install in your machine. So after installation, you can see in the C drive there will be a folder like Java, and you can see that both JDK and JRE setup are available inside this one. And means if you go to the C, this one, you will find that inside the program file there is a Java, this one. You will get the JDK and JRE both here. Okay, so you need to install these all things. Also you need to install the Eclipse. Just go to the Google again and type here download Eclipse for Windows 32. So you will get the option to download the Eclipse. Okay, like Windows 32-bit, this one, click on this one. For example, my PC is 32-bit, so I will click this one. So Eclipse will be downloaded, and also there will be some previous releases. If you'll check it out, this one, so you can download the Eclipse like Oxygen, Neon, whatever you want, the older version you can download. So after download it do not need any installation, just extract this one, and from next class we will working on real-time program. And one more thing, that how to configure the path. uh, yes, go to the control panel, system and security, system, go to here, advanced system setting, and click on the environment variable. So here you have to give the path of your Java. Okay, although all the things I have already given in my website, which is if you go to here, so you can follow this one to how to download and install, then how to basic history of the Java, all the things I have given here. Okay, so I have already given that how you will download and how you will check. Okay, then how you will set the path. Okay, in the system variable, just go to here, like type here as a Java underscore. Now give the path up to the JDK here. You just need to give the path up to here and click on the OK button. Then inside the system variable, find the path, this one, click on the edit, go to the last, click on the semicolon and just pick the path up to the bin and copy this one and go to here and just paste this one. Okay, now click on the OK, OK and OK. So this is the way to set the path of the Java. And how to check whether it is installed or not. Open the CMD like Java hyphen version. Okay, so if it is showing that Java version, that means Java has been configured in your machine and the path has been set. If there is some error, that means the path have not yet set properly. So these are the things that you have to do. And from tomorrow we will work on the next topic, like we will create the program and then we will move on the OOPS concept. So it's enough for today. So thank you for watching.